Welcome to Queernecks, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode. I'm wearing some freshly laundered house shoes.
Nice.
Do y'all call them house shoes?
I call them slippers, but yeah, house shoes.
Slippers. I never heard slippers until I went up. I don't remember when the first time it was, but I just remember the first time I heard it going like, I thought that they were two different items, right?
We didn't have slippers. We had socks. That's what socks were for.
My grandparents would occasionally be trying to, I think, signal to us that they were richer than my parents were. And so they would buy us random things or take us shopping and buy us a really random thing. And so one year they got us all house shoes. I just remember being like, wow, this is fancy. Shoes for the inside of the house. But now it's because I have a texture thing and I can't stand when my bare feet walk on something that is dirty and I don't sweep enough.
I hear that.
It's a cat litter problem. My God, I did something that made my little white trash heart clutch its pearls, though. I bought one of those litter robots.
Ooh.
You seen those?
Uh-huh. Fancy.
Yeah. I got it from Costco. It was like a $900 thing it came with a bunch of you can get one for a lot less than that if you only get the machine, but it came with like some steps for Oscar's old arthritic ass and a year's worth of bin liners for the litter and a mat that catches it when they jump out of it. Yeah, I've been living the life since then.
Have they been using it?
Yeah, they will. They didn't love it at first, of course, because they were like, what in the hell? So I let them for all of them, it took 4 or 5 huge ass litter boxes at any given time. And they smelled and it just was like I had to clean them all the time and they tracked litter everywhere. So I got this thing and like slowly diminished the number of regular litter boxes they had over the period of several weeks.
Well, that's awesome.
If I leave dirty laundry or something on the floor, they will pee in that. I don't know which one of them it is. I just think I don't know what that is.
They just don't like clutter.
Yeah. They're like, you need to clean this shit up. Disgusting bastard. It's Customer Appreciation Day at my gas station. So I was just over there and they gave me a free hot dog.
Nice. Free food always tastes better than food you pay for.
I don't remember last time I ate a hot dog on purpose. Like I thought to myself, like I would like a hot dog right now. Yeah. But then when they offered me that one, I said, hell yeah.
I haven't had one since I've been allowed to say no to food. I don't like hot dogs at all. Funnily enough, I don't like phallic-shaped food, and it's not because they're phallic-shaped. It just worked out that way. I don't like link sausage. I don't like bananas. I don't like eggplant. I don't like cucumbers. I don't like pickles.
My God, does it hurt being so incorrect about something? All of that stuff is incredible.
It's the texture for most of it that I can't handle.
Texture's a thing.
Yeah.
I remember, talking about like just food texture, we didn't hardly eat much fresh vegetables and stuff growing up. It was all canned. I really thought for the longest time that I hated all kinds of vegetables because I'd only had the canned version. So for instance, the canned version of asparagus is nobody should put that in their mouth. For one, canned asparagus has an odd like taste, but the texture, have you ever had that shit?
I've never had asparagus in my life.
Well, fresh asparagus is pretty elite. I love it. But it took a long time for me to even think about trying it because I really thought that all asparagus was like canned asparagus and it's mush. So it still is kind of shaped. It's asparagus shaped when it comes out of the can, but when you touch it, it just liquefies. It is awful.
Yeah, the only vegetables Mom gave us were potatoes and corn, occasional carrot, a pot roast. Yeah, Mom had like 5 recipes that she made on a rotating basis. And the rest of the time we ate fast food.
Did she ever like bake stuff? Did she make cakes and things?
Not all the time. Sometimes for your birthday or whatever, they could whip together that. She was big on fudge. She made fudge for us. My wife learned how to make it, and I try to get her to make it for me, and she won't. But she knows how to do it, so there's at least that. She learned how to make my mom's fudge and my mom's mashed potatoes.
Fudge is amazing, but there's a quality to fudge in Appalachia in particular to me, because I've just tried many different kinds since moving away. And I'm like, yeah, there's like objectively sugar and peanut butter and chocolate and whatever you're going to put in here and melt together. It's going to be great. But there is something about the kind that they made on Jellicoe Mountain in particular. There was a gas station in there that would sell somebody's homemade version, and I have never tasted anything like it since then. And in a way, I'm kind of like, I don't want fudge. It's not going to be.
Mom made the recipe on the back of the Hershey cocoa. It was for a long time. It was on the back of the Hershey cocoa container. It's really good.
My mom tried to make some once. My mom was not a desserts person. She will make us cakes for our birthdays, but she just didn't put the energy into, like, you got to cook a whole ass meal. You have to go to work. You have to be a mom and a person who has at least one, if not two or more jobs. They come home and put something on the table for dinner. I don't think it's weird at all to not want to do dessert on top of all that.
Right.
She would claim that it was because she didn't like it, but I don't think that's true. Everybody likes it. But one time she did make an attempt at what I think was peanut butter fudge, and I don't know what she did to it. I don't know what happened to it while it was in that oven, but I have this distinct memory of, those really thick butter knives.
Mm-hmm.
When she broke one in half, trying to cut down the center of this fudge.
Now that's a talent.
And I remember, like, to her credit, she thought it was hysterical too. But I just remember that was maybe my earliest memory of my dad laughing so hard that he like turned red and he was crying and stuff. My dad loves to laugh. Once we learned that, and when you're a kid, you begin to like get a sense of humor. Mm-hmm. It just became our mission to make him laugh until no sound could come out. That's how hard he laughs.
That was my goal with Mom, because I learned that you weren't in trouble if you were funny. And she'd stop being sad if you were funny. So I got real funny.
A lot of kids learn that humor is a self-defense.
Yeah. It loosens a lot of situations that are otherwise very tense.
I'm need to take off the things we've already hit on the wheel or what have you. They go fast. It's going to be time to put some more on.
Can you believe this is our 13th episode?
No. We're getting so good. One of these days I'll get like a place to actually record where there's good sound quality.
And one day I'll get our website all put together. I'm working on it though.
I just don't think, like we're working, we're having a good time. I don't think there's any reason to just freak out and rush about things.
Right. Like, we got an email address this week.
Hell yeah. Tell the listeners about it.
So if you would like to reach out to us via email, please do so at mailbag@queernecks.com. MAILBAG @queernecks.com.
Yeah. We don't know why you'd want to talk to us, but if you did, say you want to offer us big bunches of money to make entertainment.
At your local bowling alley.
What have you been watching anything? What have you been doing lately for entertainment?
The last week and a half, I've been solely working on my syllabi and trying to get that stuff together. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube. There's a show on Netflix called Son of a Critch. Nobody has heard of it when I mention it. It's from Canadian TV. It's on Canadian Broadcasting Channel. It's really cute. There's a 4th season that I can't find anywhere that just aired, but the first 3 seasons are on Netflix. It's really cute.
Malcolm McDowell is in this?
Yeah, he's the grandpa.
Cool.
Yeah. It takes place in Newfoundland. He's a kid and he's in a Catholic middle school, elementary school.
It's on the CW?
It's on Netflix if you have Netflix.
I just recently have started going like, what do I want to meaningfully spend money on? Like subbing to Patreons and stuff. Like what artists do I want to support? Especially with the amount of time I spend consuming podcasts or YouTube or something. And also just getting started doing this. Now I'm noticing that there's all these ways you can support artists with your dollars. I just subbed to one person and it's like $1 a month. She has so many, I think, subscribers that's all she needs. And so she's not trying to squeeze anybody. And I was like, I can do $1 a month for the amount of stuff that I get from you. Cause I have been watching her shit. It's Fundy Fridays on YouTube. And she does watch parties in her Discord. Like that's a fuck ton of work. And I'm benefiting from at least a good portion of it. So I can give you $1 a month. But at the same time, I'm getting rid of things like Netflix and Paramount. Fuck Paramount. I'm so mad at Paramount.
Yeah. I got rid of everything for the summer because there's nothing new on TV during the summer anyway. There's no new content. So you're really just paying to placehold until new stuff comes out. That's true. I cancel them every summer. And then as there's things I want to watch, I re-up them.
Yeah, I restarted Netflix so that I could watch Wednesday.
Yeah.
I rarely ever actually open Netflix. First thing I do when I open the Roku is go to YouTube.
That's what I do on my TV. I have several YouTubers that I follow and I watch all the late night stuff. Like I watch Jimmy Kimmel every morning. I don't watch him live, but I watch the monologue every morning.
really bizarrely specific fake news going around lately. I got a Google alert that the IRS is going to give us all a $1,500 stimulus packet or stimulus
I
check.
got something like that too.
That is absolutely not true.
Right.
So I was like, what the fuck? There's a funny Weird Al Yankovic. You know how he and Will Forte, they just did a cover of Chappell Roan's Pink Pony Club?
No, I haven't heard it.
It's really cute and it's live, and they were just I don't know what the rest of the show was, but they were kind of joking because he doesn't do straight covers. He always does parodies, and they did a straight cover of it because they're like, this song is, there's nothing to improve on here. But he posted, I don't know if it was X or Threads, a screenshot of Google saying something about, Chappell Roan, and it's a picture of him doing that song. And he's like, are you sure about this, Google? Google's getting worse.
I was using Chat GPT the other day, and I was working on creating a state, like, I'll write something and tell it to rewrite it nicely or more professional, and that, like, I would get some tips out of that sometimes. And it was just making things up whole cloth that weren't even part of the notes that I was giving it. And I was like, just typing no and hitting enter.
I don't remember the last thing I tried to use it for, but I also just, and also, like, once it starts on something, you can't get it to stop.
Right.
And you can't type either because it's working on something. And so I just had to sit there while it did something that was not at all what I wanted. I think it's getting worse. It's getting dumber.
Are you polite to AI?
Well, I don't talk to it that often. Yeah, I guess I'm not mean to it.
Do you say thank you to Alexa?
I don't have an Alexa.
You should. It's good for the weather. And it tells you when your Amazon packages arrive.
I don't have any smart home things. I have a router, and it is compatible with a lot of stuff like that, but I don't, like, what's it going to do in this 100-year-old goblin house? Nothing in here is smart. So I just never have bothered.
I do think the plugins are neat because you can be like, turn on the living room lamp, and it just comes on.
Yeah. That's really Star Trek.
Yeah. The technology I always wanted from TV in the 80s was the hand link that Al used on Quantum Leap, the guy that was his coach. Did you ever see that show?
Yeah.
The Al, his friend that was in the future.
Yeah.
He had a
guide.
Yeah, he had a little thing that he would hold, a little hand link, and he'd get information from it and he'd read it. It was way before cell phones or anything like that. So it was cool that he had this thing, like this instant computer in his hand. They were bulky and they were colorful and they made all kinds of interesting noises. And I've always wanted one.
Do you ever have an iMac?
Hell no.
You remember those?
At school, I think there were a few. My parents never would have sprung for a Mac computer. Never.
A lot of people don't know, like, how many eras Apple has had. So Macintosh was just like the first PC, and it had like that, amazing green font on it, and you could play Oregon Trail. But the iMac was that one that this is where Apple was first trying on. They were trying to do aesthetic. They were trying to be like, we have style. This is how we're going to distinguish ourselves. And they were bright colors and bulbous and weird looking. They were self-contained machines too. And I just remember, like, thinking, where's this going? I would get wish books of guitars and computers and just sit and dream about owning something one day. And now you kind of have to try to not have a computer.
Right. They're in everything. My insurance company sent me all new testing supplies today, and it came with a new monitor and new test strips, and it's all super fancy, and it's connected to the internet. Why does my blood glucose monitor need to be connected to the internet?
This litter robot I bought, it talks to me all day. It'll send me a text message. Felix took a shit. It weighs them.
That's funny.
Yeah. Like, okay. It'll tell me when brisket's playing in it.
So it's a narc is what you're saying.
It's a narc, yeah. You can get, I was kind of tempted to get the cat cameras that you can watch your cats with all day. Then I knew that I would just be sad, and that they would be sad.
My two littles will, out of nowhere, if they forget you're home and they're on the couch, they will just throw their little heads back out of nowhere and howl, the saddest little howl that you have ever heard in your life. And we talked about getting those cameras, but if I saw that happening, I'd be like, I got to leave right now and go home.
I have to.
I couldn't know it was happening and not go.
When you buy a house, they try to sell you all kinds of shit. There's these, like, parasite vendors that come at you, like ADT, and they're like, we'll give you these cameras for free. And I was like, I don't want any of that shit. They come at you and they're like, it's a selling point to have the ADT sign in your yard because it says, don't try to break into my house. Do you know where I live? Nobody's going to try to break into this house. They're all related to each other. They all know each other. If anybody saw you do it, everybody else would know you'd done it in an hour. You're not going to get away with anything here. It'd be kind of gauche to be like, don't break into my house. There's nothing but garbage in here. Maybe we ought to spin this
Let's
wheel
do it.
and see if we can get ourselves. Whoop. All right. So we landed on local legends.
Local legends.
I was thinking more like legendary people. Here's one. There's one person. This is from Richmond. So when I lived in Richmond, there's a guy there. I think he's still alive. They called Big World. He called himself Big World, actually. So it world, but nobody pronounces the D. So Big World.
Big World.
And
It's
yeah,
like Big Worm.
yeah. So Whirl is a guy. I never have known how old he is, but he's smaller now, but he was always a real large guy. He was just kind of, I think, neurodivergent, and his favorite thing in the world was to be outside and just talking to people. And he would ride a bicycle around and just go from place to place and talk to everybody. He was a black guy, so it was interesting watching him go between, because the places he would go, you would think like, I wonder if that's a safe place for him. It could be that's an assumption that's not fair to make of anybody. And it could also be that like everybody just loved World. But he called himself Big World because he was outside and he went around to everybody so much that he started to sell sign space on his bicycle for advertising. So local businesses would give World $5 a month or whatever to ride his bicycle around with a sign for that, with their business sticking off the back of his bike.
That's awesome.
As he got older, he couldn't ride his bike as much, but he got a tricycle and would ride that around. And then he got a little less capable of paddling that around. And he would stop and praise on the corners and stuff too. Like sometimes you'd stop at the red light and World would be on the corner praising. It's like, okay, get it, World. And it would be very animated, and then he would be fine after that and just go on. So nobody bothered him. You just knew that sometimes World would stop and praise and you couldn't talk to him. But he would be struggling to get along on his pedal powered things. And somebody gave him a lawnmower. They took the blades off of it and gave him a lawnmower to drive around. And he got a big cart on the back of it. And then it was just signs all galore. And everybody wanted World to promote their business. But there was a law against riding a lawnmower on the road. So there was like a petition, like the whole town petitioned. I don't know if it was change the law or make an exception for Whirl to be able to still ride his mower around and make his money and visit everybody.
That's awesome.
At the bowling alley I worked at, we had a little like newspaper there, and we would do like, there was a game of Where's Whirl, and just like Photoshop a picture of him into he caught us one night, man. Me and my roommates were playing strip poker, and we decided to go outside for a smoke, and he rolled up on us, and we were just like, oh God, what do we do? But he stopped. He saw it. He noticed. He goes, "Ah, shit! I was naked." He just rode up. It's like, yes, you better go. I guess he's probably the most legendary person from Richmond.
The only person I can think of is a guy that was named Rodney. He happened to be a black man as well. He was developmentally delayed, and he would walk around. I remember him from the time I was 6, 7, 8. He would always be around the parks and the bowling alley because I was bowling alley a lot. And he wanted everybody's autograph, and he would make balloon animals.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But everybody knew Rodney, and you'd see him all over town. There were people that came to bingo that were legendary. Like the lady that got arrested by the FBI in the middle of a game one day. She worked at a bank, and she had embezzled from the bank, and they waited on her to be in a public place, and they came in and pulled her ass out of bingo and took her to jail. Everybody was like, holy cow.
Was she playing bingo
Yes.
with the money?
I don't know. She was playing bingo. I don't know where she got the money. She was a big tip player too. And some of those people would get their check and come spend $800-900 a night. It was wild. Doing all that is why I don't really gamble anymore. I'll go to bingo once in a while knowing that I'm going to lose my money, and it's this pleasant surprise when I win. But the house always wins. And my mom was a gambler, my dad was a gambler, and I am just not.
I've never really, gambling wasn't a thing in Jellicoe. Like, it wasn't legal, and people played poker, but I didn't know anybody that was like sitting there losing their shirt on high stakes poker. I don't think that the dopamine hit from winning at something like gambling would have been the same to me as it was like something like drugs or alcohol. You always know that one's going to hit.
Yeah.
And the gambling just I didn't understand it. It didn't do it for me.
Gambling was such a part of my mom's life that my dad tracked down the first slot machine she ever played and bought it. And it sat beside the door of my bedroom in the hallway for 20 years. I don't know what happened to it. When my dad died, it disappeared.
Your mom was kind of a local legend. Like, she had...
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Like, the porn shop, the bingo,
Anywhere you wanted to
just
chain smoke, my mom was there. And they would, man. That's why I basically have to have a fan in almost every room I'm in, and I have to have a window cracked in a car because I for so long they would chain smoke. Like they would go between a carton a day between them. Yeah, and they wouldn't roll down the windows. That's like I said, that's why to this day I can't sleep without a fan. That's why I have to have a fan in nearly every room I'm in. I always have to have air moving. I can't the stagnant air. I just can't breathe. I come from a long line of smokers. All three of my parents smoked.
on my mom's side, they all did. Nobody on my dad's side did. I think that there is it's not just me that thinks this. This is a pretty well documented and researched correlation between smoking and poverty and the way that certain vices are classed. Maybe all vices are classed. I don't know. But smoking in particular is a poor person affectation.
Mhm.
And I think some people, and I also would probably say that it's to do with you can sit down and take a breath. There's so few rests to be taken in the life of someone who is working in the mines or service industry or something like that. Like I think we talked about this before. Like you start smoking because you can take a break if you smoke,
Right?
and also it's a stimulant, and it was a readily available one. For a long time, cigarettes were cheap as hell.
Yeah, and they would sell to anybody.
Yeah.
I started smoking when I was 16, and I had no problem getting them. That was the 90s before all the laws changed and everything. Because now you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes.
I know. I saw that. Yeah, I was buying cigarettes when I was 15 or 16. Supposed to had to be 18, but not many people cared. They knew we were in high school because we would stop at it was the quick stop, one of those across the street from my high school, literally across the street from my high school. And we would all just go in there and smoke before school and we'd buy our cigarettes from there. She knew we were high schoolers.
Yeah. If a place can be legendary as a legendary local, the Briar Patch was the name of the gas station where I usually got my cigarettes. And that place is legendary. They sell everything that you can think of. You can get a giant bag of dog food, like a 60-pound bag of dog food, just as easily as you can buy a crock pot, just as easily as you can buy a sympathy card, just as easily as you can buy a gas station chicken with frog legs on the side. They sell milk, they sell beer, they sell statuettes of bald eagles flying through the air. They sell statues of Native Americans. They're one of those gas stations that sell the little crack pipes on the counter, the little roses.
Yeah, with the rose.
Yeah. Like you name it and you can get it at the Briar Patch. I worked there one summer and it was wild. They never close for any reason whatsoever. They have live bait. They have a live bait refrigerator sitting there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, literally anything. They have racing fuel.
What's racing fuel?
A higher octane fuel that you can put in a car to optimize the engine.
It's go faster juice.
Yeah. But you can also buy kerosene there for heaters and stuff like that. But yeah, they have racing fuel right there.
I think it was pretty easy for high school athletes to become local legends. It's like small town celebrity. I don't know. Is this true for a lot of places? But the kind of like sad decline of the high school football star, like the person who becomes that level of celebrity over something like high school athletics and kind of throws away the rest of their life.
I know there were some guys like that. I can think of one guy specifically named Josh. He was like 6'4" when we were in the 7th grade. He was huge, beanpole. And he was good at basketball and that kind of thing, and he was really popular. He was the only person I knew from kindergarten through 12th grade because we both changed schools and went to the same school in the 6th grade. Like he followed me there like 3 weeks after I moved. It was weird. But then he spent the rest of his life working as he first was a writer for the local newspaper, a sports writer. Then I ran into him and he was a waiter at a Roadhouse type restaurant. And then in his obituary, it said that he was an adjunct at Shawnee State. So I think he was an EMT. He might have been doing stuff with that. I don't know.
So he did stuff.
But he definitely peaked in high school.
Well, I think we have to be careful like how we're measuring success.
Totally true.
I have a bias. I know that staying behind would have been not successful. It wouldn't have felt successful to me. But for some people, then that is what they set out to do. But I think it's more like a level of how they see themselves. Is it more difficult to continue to grow, to see yourself as an evolving person if you receive that amount of adoration and praise and stuff at such a silly point in a person's life?
Yeah.
High school is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I just always wondered what it would be like, what it would be like to have to try to become an adult, which it has a lot of sad and lonely and difficult parts after having been someone who was damn near worshipped in high school.
I say there's a lot of drinking that goes on.
Yeah, well, a lot of the guys that were in that position from my school are dead now.
Yeah.
From stuff like that. But our generation too, like our generation was really specific because we got hit by the opioid epidemic. And I'm continually struck by being other places than Appalachia, and also just meeting younger people that they really don't know what that means, what the opioid epidemic did and what it was and how its effects are still so felt. You know, we talk about how we lost a generation to HIV AIDS. Appalachia lost a generation to opioids.
They sure did. I lost my brother and 3 first cousins to the opioid epidemic. So many people that I knew from high school, and my area was so bad, the Intervention made an episode about the opioid epidemic about my hometown.
Yeah. And the region you're from in particular is often considered the ground zero for that epidemic. And listeners, if you don't know, that epidemic was engineered. It was class warfare. I don't care if you think I sound like Alex Jones right now. It's documented. You can look it up. It was done to us to make a buck, and the Sacklers need to burn in hell.
Amen.
Poverty is a place where these kinds of things take root. They can be engineered, they can be incidental, they can be overflow, they can be the next wave or evolution of some other evil or some other thing. But this one was ours. This was this was the one that defined our generation, and I think still does. I mean, I know plenty of people who are still dealing with repercussions of that shit. You know, in the 90s too. It's not like AIDS wasn't there anymore. Between that and opioids, they're just all gone or sick, and their lives have been marked or defined by this thing.
I've lost a lot of people to drugs and alcohol and depression.
Yeah.
I lost my dad to lung cancer from smoking. I lost my aunt to COPD from smoking. I had another aunt die of kidney failure from her uncontrolled diabetes.
The kinds of things that happens on a systemic level to Appalachia or to poor Black neighborhoods, there's not a long list of places where we would allow that shit to happen to other people, where it would just to middle class people, to nice white people. They would ring every alarm bell they could find, but it's not affecting the kind of people that we care about. So why do anything?
Right.
And sort of back to this like local legend type of thing. And I'm telling everybody this every time I get the opportunity. Places like that, like Appalachia, like those poor Black neighborhoods, they will do the shit themselves. Like if somebody needs help, they will do that shit themselves. They will find help. The mutual aid going on in Appalachia right now, the socioeconomic development, self-directed by people in the region to try to do something, because nobody else is going to. Nobody external to the region is going to give a fuck.
Ain't that it?
Did you ever do something legendary and then like want to tell everybody about it? Like
it's kind of dark, but the coolest thing I have ever done, stay with me here. One of my many jobs over the years is that I worked at the Rape Crisis Center in Toledo. And one of the first cases I had was pretty appalling. Long story short, it happened in front of the woman's grandson. And I only worked there for a short period of time, but I remained close to the woman. I was there when she had her exam at the hospital. I went through the whole process with her. I held her hand, and I stayed on as a volunteer. And when the guy went to trial, and it was time to read the victim impact statement, I helped her write it, and I read the victim impact statement for her. And I got to call that guy an asshole to his face. Before it's on the record forever that I called that man an asshole. And then he got sentenced to 5 years. So I think that was pretty legendary.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest things I've gotten to do through my work in women's studies and feminism.
That's pretty fucking epic. I don't think I've done many cool things. I have survived a lot of things that should have killed me.
Amen to that too.
I have a whole lot of stories that should have been my last. They could have been on my gravestone.
I haven't spent a lot of time inebriated in my life, but I have grievously injured myself on more than one occasion. Like I said, my leg nearly fell off one time. My arm was almost ripped off by a boat. My cat, I got bitten by a cat and my hand turned black and started swelling up like crazy. I've been in some serious accidents. I've wrecked several cars, but thank goodness I've always been okay so far.
My papa has survived some crazy shit, and he's kind of a legend to me. So I think he was in his 80s, late 70s, early 80s, and was driving a tractor, and it rolled down the hill. It rolled over on him, and he was fine. He fractured a rib, and that was it. When he was 90, he was driving an old a Chevy S10 without a seatbelt and got T-boned and was fine.
Oh,
I
wow.
think he was like made of some different stuff.
A wild story that happened to my papaw. It was before I was born, and I heard it through the grapevine, of course. He was a truck driver, and one time he was trucking along and he fell asleep at the wheel, and there was a truck broke down on the side of the road, and his semi hit the truck and ran over the guy that was under the hood, and the guy was dead. And so they did some research, and it turns out he had had a heart attack and died under the hood. And if they hadn't been able to prove that, my grandpa would have gone to prison for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
the guy had a heart attack and died under the hood on the side of the road, and that's where my papaw hit him.
Dang. My dad drove trains he started the railroad as a brakeman because everybody starts at the bottom and it's all seniority based. Eventually, though, everybody works up to going to engineer school at Norfolk Southern anyway. I don't know if all railroads are like this. And after that, you drive trains. So he did that for probably 15 years. People will, I know a person who is in the mental state where they want to take their own life is not making decisions in an organized way. Folks choose trains to take their own lives. I think maybe not understanding that there's a person inside. And so he has to go on kind of trial every time someone does that. So he first sees this, right? Because there's windows, but then he has to go and be deposed and make sure that, like, even though they're the person, they put themselves in front of the train, he's still like, if he had made a single mistake or something like that, he would be liable. And the number of times that, like, I don't know how he did the job he did for as long as he did. Once would be enough for me on that. And people do it a lot.
Wow. You don't hear about that very often.
No, the railroad's actually pretty good at keeping secrets.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's a good time to hear from this week's sponsor.
Let's do it. Put it on.
Really excited about this one. This week's sponsor is 1989 Geo Metro.
I owned one of those.
I did too. Now, y'all, some folks out here will flex with their shiny new trucks, their lifted Jeeps, their cars that start with keys, but you don't need none of that when you got the rubber band powered dollar store gremlin of Appalachia, the 1989 Geo Metro. The car for which the Ford Pinto is aspirational. 3 cylinders, count them, like the dollar bill you're queer as. A 4th cylinder would simply be too much, and that's only reserved for blush and the number of carabiners on a wallet chain. 4-speed transmission means you'll get to savor every gear shift like the last cigarette before drag bingo starts. No need for any theft protection. If anybody wanted it, they'd have already got it. The key's been broken off in the ignition since '93, and the door locks may have never worked. Now, the dash says this beauty tops out at 85 miles an hour. But if you dare take it over 55, oh honey, she shakes harder than a Pentecostal in church. She's not driving, she's reviving. This Metro's interactive dash and column panel keep you and your passengers engaged, chasing buttons around the floor as they fly off in every direction. Push 1 for the wipers and the low beams button launches a bid towards the window. Metro likes to keep you on your toes. The 1989 Geo Metro is the perfect car for Appalachia, a place where the question is never whether it's the newest or the nicest, but only, can it take me and my chosen family somewhere else for a while? If the answer is yes, then it's as nice as a Bentley and fast as a Maserati. Plus, you can get one for the cost of gas to get it home. This week's episode is sponsored by 1989 Geo Metro, keeping you humble and creative.
Very cool. Though I would like to point out, I did have an alarm system on my Metro.
What?
Yes. Because I had a really nice stereo. We put a Pioneer stereo in it. So we put a car alarm on it. It would just go off for hours at school. I'd get called to the office and I'd know what it was for.
Mine had a tape deck in it.
Yeah, no, that was one thing that I had. My dad always kept me in a good radio. I had satellite radio like the first year it came out.
Dang. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Your mom and your dad and stepdad were big believers in having the Cinemax and the things.
Yeah. Not so much the insurance, but yeah, the satellite radio, and the bingo, and
we would make mixtapes off the radio, like I was talking about last week, and then also off of, you remember M2?
No.
So not MTV, MTV2.
No.
After MTV became just reality TV and stuff like that, they moved the music videos to a separate channel called M2. It wasn't part of, I think, traditional cable. We got it because of the satellite dish that my dad took the restraining bolt And they played it wasn't just what was on the radio. They played like indie stuff. This is the first time I heard Ani DeFranco. This is the first time I heard Suzanne Vega and Slater Kinney and Veruca Salt, like all of these things that really became important music influences for me. They were on M2, but my dad had hooked up this system, this monitor with JBLs so we could listen to, movies and stuff in surround sound. And me and my brother figured out a way to wire it to the TV so that we could record music through it. I think it was, I don't even remember how we did it, but yeah, we were making our own mixtapes off of M2. And so I was thumping those in the Metro.
I remember I specifically remember listening to the Weezer Blue album back then.
I listened to that one yesterday.
Yeah. I know every word to that whole CD. It's perfect from start to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, from the very first, that acoustic guitar of My Name is Jonas.
Which I had a very best friend named Jonas. Yeah, so it was funny.
Did you see any of the music videos for that?
Yeah, the Buddy Holly one was really popular. And the Undone Sweater song was also popular.
Yeah, Say It Ain't So.
Yeah.
I took that CD to college with me, and I remember feeling really lonely, and I was in my dorm room on the top bunk staring at the ceiling listening to Only in Dreams. And you know how that song, it takes its time. It really pares itself down to hardly anything. For a while there, it's just the bass guitar and the cymbal, the hi-hat, and it slowly builds back up. And that's like a formative memory for me of going away to college. Was just kind of, I had my eyes closed and I was just listening really hard. I had it turned up really loud, and I was trying to find some bridge between who and what and where I had been just a week ago and where I was going to be, now, whatever that meant. It's funny how music can do that.
The Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls takes me back to my very first dorm room. I did a summer program between my junior and senior year of college where we stayed on campus for 6 weeks and lived in the dorms. I had a roommate and all that kind of stuff. And that was that summer that song came out. And I remember people listening to it. Specifically, that song takes me back there. My senior year of high school, my mom let me go to a concert in Toledo, which is no big deal now because I live in Toledo. But Toledo is 250 miles from where I grew up. It was a pretty good drive.
And it's a big city.
Yeah. But we were allowed to go, and it was Bush, No Doubt, and the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a great lineup.
Yeah, it was. It was fantastic.
I loved Bush, that first album.
Yep.
What was it called? Come Down?
Was it Glycerine?
No. No, those are the names of the songs. What was the first?
I had it. Pearl Jam Verses is one of my favorite. Also perfect from
16 Stone.
Yes.
It was called. Yeah, which I had no idea was a measurement system because I didn't know anything about Britain and their stone things. But yeah, I loved that album. And Offspring, I enjoyed them, but I was never as huge into them as I was like Weezer. Silverchair, Columbia House has probably got a hit out on it.
I had so many accounts. I would just put a variation spelling of my name and order 12 more.
Hundreds of CDs.
Hundreds of them. I had the Gregorian chant CD. And
yeah, that was kind of funny. Like that period in the 90s when everybody was really into that Gregorian chants. Yeah. I had Enya, but this is where I got Tori Amos. Did you ever listen to her?
No, I was never a big fan.
Man, she was fucking everything to me for the longest time.
I have an ex-girlfriend that was like that, so.
Who is this bitch? Who says things like this? There was Columbia House and there was another one.
BMG.
Yeah, these were music agency outlets. And I was just, what were they? How were they? They had to know that they were never going to get a
They
dime.
were the subscription ones because then they could sell you a regular price CD at $21.95 that you could go to Walmart and buy for $12.95 or whatever.
Yeah.
And you had to do one, you had to order so many in a year.
In Corbin, there was, I know now, to be a head shop. I didn't know at the time that was the name of it, that my parents would take me to. And it's because they had music in there. It was kind of like a special media, what's it called? In malls. There's a store that sells incense and blacklight posters and
Spencer's?
shit. Spencer's, yeah. It was kind of like that. But it was even a little more hardcore because it was independent. And so I got books on witchcraft and stuff there. And a lot of posters and music magazines and things. And I would come home with all kinds of incense. I don't know why they let me do it. I guess, maybe they just knew that it was actually kind of harmless. I think my parents they didn't overreact about shit like that. Yeah. They were never, you're going to go to hell. Satan's in there.
Though I gotta say, when I walk into a head shop these days, especially one that has a back room with dildos and stuff in it, it smells like my childhood. Incense and rubber. It's the smell of my childhood.
What will we name our LLC? Incense and Rubber. Listeners, what should our LLC be named?
That's funny right there.
Well, if you brought one with you, if you have it handy, would you like to give us a noun of Appalachian interest?
I would. I picked a good one for this week.
Yay.
The Appalachian interest, the nouns are people, places, and things that are of Appalachian interest. And this week I went for Don Knotts. When you think of American comedy legends, you can't skip over Don Knotts, the man that could just get a laugh by looking nervous. Born Jesse Donald Knotts in 1924 in Morgantown, West Virginia, he was proof that small-town Appalachia could produce some big-time funny. Don wasn't your typical Hollywood leading man. He didn't swagger, he didn't flex, and he definitely wasn't the guy saving the day with the six-shooter. No, his weapon of choice was an expression, wide-eyed, twitchy, and always about 2 seconds from a total breakdown. And somehow that made him the most lovable guy in the room. Of course, he's best remembered as Barney Fife on The Andy Griffith Show, the overconfident, underqualified deputy who kept Mayberry safe with exactly one bullet, which, for public safety, Andy wisely made him keep in his shirt pocket. Barney was the kind of character you rooted for, even when you were waiting for him to mess something up, which he always did gloriously. But Don Knotts wasn't a one-role wonder. He made a career out of playing the unlikely hero in comedies like my favorite, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, or The Incredible Mr. Limpet, where he literally turned into a talking fish and somehow made it work. He had this rare gift for making awkwardness charming and fear downright hilarious. And then there's the role that lives in our Nick at Night hearts, the quirky Ralph Furley. Knotts carried that Appalachian mix of humility and grit into everything that he did. He wasn't just playing small town, he was small town, and he took that sensibility all the way to Hollywood, winning 5 Emmys along the way. So here's to Don Knotts, the skinny kid from Morgantown who became America's favorite nervous wreck and proved that you don't have to be the toughest guy in town to be the one everybody loves.
Yeah. Did you ever see that music video for Peach's Fuck the Pain Away?
Nope, can't say I did.
I don't know if that's what it's called. I mean, oh God, what's going to happen when I put this into Google?
Incense and Rubber.
It doesn't know what to do. It's not even suggesting anything. You know, that's the name of the song, Fuck the Pain Away. The music video is on YouTube. It's a really good song, first of all, and I love Peaches in general. But what they did for this music video was green screened, photoshopped in a hot chick dancing in, she's got kind of a short skirt and sort of dancing very provocatively around Don Knotts in Andy Griffith, in particular in the jail cell. And it's just like, they, you know, the Kuleshov effect, where how you cut between someone's expression and what they're looking at creates different meaning. And so they use that. They have him reacting in his, like, you know, bug-eyed, overreacting Don Knotts kind of way as Barney Fife to this woman dancing. And I don't know. It was really, really fun for me. When I saw that, I was like, I bet he would find this funny. Like, he would know why this was funny.
He had to have some sense of humor to have a show that had a supposed gay character to even suggest such a thing with Three's Company, how Jack was supposed to be gay.
The Tinkerbell thing.
Yeah. Like, you had to have some sensibility.
I did not watch a lot of Three's Company. Here, I'm sending this Fuck the Pain Away music video to the chat. By the time, like, Nick at Night had gotten up to the 80s, I wasn't watching it anymore. When I was watching Nick at Night, it was the 50s, like the 40s and 50s. It was Robin Laura Petrie. It was I Love Lucy. Did you ever watch Petticoat Junction and Green Acres?
I was forced to watch every Western that has ever been that was before the year 1990. I've seen basically every Western. So anything that was Western related, I try to avoid.
What is going on? Now there's like a siren outside?
I heard one of your cats meow earlier.
Yeah, that's Ziggy. She can't stand not being the center of attention.
I've got 3 sleeping dogs passed out around me.
Lucky you.
Yes, agreed. My girls are getting so old, though. Little dogs tend to live longer than big dogs.
Well, I guess we should wrap up here. I hope that if you have ideas about what we can name our LLC...
Or ideas for the Wheel of What Have You.
Yeah, remember to give us those. You can message us. You can at us on Threads. You can add us on Facebook at Queernecks. A lot of people are commenting on the Spotify now, like just commenting on the episode on Spotify, which I really love. That's pretty cool. It's easy to keep track of.
That's awesome.
Tell us your local legends. Tell us if you're a local legend.
Or any noun of Appalachian interest you would like to see highlighted.
Yeah, what's good from your neck of Appalachia? We know it's a big wide world out there. Yeah, we'll love to put more of y'all in the show. I can't think of anything else to say, so I guess we'll just let you go.
Don't rush off now.
Don't rush off now. Say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.